October 1918. The Great War has been bleeding Europe dry for 4 years. The trenches are a scar across the face of France. But now there is a new player on the field: the Americans. The United States has finally thrown its weight into the conflict. They call it the Argonne Offensive. It is the largest battle in American military history up to that point. The goal is simple but brutal: smash through the seemingly impenetrable German lines in the Argonne Forest and end the war. But the Argonne is not just a forest. It is a nightmare. It is a dense, tangled wilderness of hills, ravines, and thickets, fortified by the Germans for 4 years with concrete bunkers, machine gun nests, and barbed wire so thick it looks like a rusted iron fog. Into this meat grinder marches the 77th Division. They are known as the Metropolitan Division, but everyone calls them the Liberty Division. They are not career soldiers. They are draftees. And they are unlike any other unit in the war. They come from the streets of New York City. They are a chaotic mix of tough kids from the Lower East Side, gangsters from Hell's Kitchen, Chinese laundrymen, Italian laborers, Jewish tailors, and Irish beat cops. Many of them don't even speak English fluently. They speak the languages of the countries they left behind to find the American dream. They are loud, undisciplined, and street smart. They don't salute properly. They argue with their sergeants, but they are tough. They are used to fighting for every inch of sidewalk in New York, and now they are about to fight for every inch of mud in France. Leading this motley crew is a man who seems completely out of place: Major Charles Whittlesey. Whittlesey is not a warrior by nature. He is a Wall Street lawyer. He is tall, gangly, and wears thick, round spectacles. He is an intellectual, a socialist, and a man of deep sensitivity. His men initially mock him. They call him the school teacher. They think he is soft. They are wrong. Beneath the lawyer's suit and the polite manners lies a backbone of solid steel. Whittlesey is about to lead these men into a situation that would break a lesser commander. He is about to lead them into a trap that history will never forget. On the morning of October 2nd, the order comes down from General Alexander. It is a suicide order disguised as a tactic. "Advance," the general says. "Push through the forest. Take the Charlevoix ravine. Do not stop for anything. Do not worry about your flanks." Whittlesey protests. He is a lawyer. He looks at the facts. He argues that if his unit pushes forward and the French and American units on his left and right don't keep up, he will be cut off. He will be an island in a German sea. The general ignores him. "It is part of the plan, Major. Advance." Whittlesey salutes. He knows it is a death sentence. But he goes back to his men, about 554 of them, and gives the order. "Fix bayonets. We move out." The advance begins in fog and rain. The New Yorkers push into the dark woods. The fighting is savage. The Germans are dug into the hillsides, firing down with Maxim machine guns. The trees explode into splinters under artillery fire. But the 77th fights with the ferocity of street brawlers. They push. They crawl. They silence the machine gun nests one by one. By the evening of October 2nd, miraculously, they reach their objective. They break through the German lines and settle into a narrow, steep-sided valley along the Charlevoix road. They dig in. They are tired, hungry, and cold, but they are proud. They have done their job. Whittlesey checks his map. He is exactly where he is supposed to be. But then he looks to his left. He looks to his right. There is nothing. No French troops, no American support units, just the dark, silent forest. The units on his flanks had failed. They had hit heavy resistance and stalled miles back. Whittlesey's battalion is the only one that broke through. They are now a thin wedge driven deep into the heart of the German army. As night falls, the realization sets in. Runners are sent back to establish contact with the rear. They don't return. Later, a runner stumbles back into the perimeter, pale and shaking. "Sir," he gasps, "there are Germans behind us. We are cut off." The trap has snapped shut. The Germans, realizing a small American force has slipped through, quickly move to seal the gap. They string barbed wire across the path behind Whittlesey. They set up machine guns on the ridges overlooking the ravine. 554 men are now trapped in a pocket roughly 300 yards long and 60 yards wide. They have no blankets. They have no coats. They left them behind to move faster. They have very little ammunition. And most critically, they have only 1 day's worth of food. Whittlesey orders his men to dig funk holes, shallow graves in the side of the hill to protect themselves from shrapnel. He walks the line, adjusting his glasses, speaking calmly. "We are cut off," he tells his officers, "but we are not surrendered. We hold this ground. The first night is terrifying. The Germans know they are there. They can hear the enemy digging in on the cliffs above them. They can hear the German officers shouting orders. "Americans," a voice calls out from the dark, "give up. You are surrounded." The response from the New York trenches is a chorus of profanity that would make a sailor blush. But bravado cannot stop bullets. At dawn on October 3rd, the siege begins in earnest. The geography of the ravine is a death trap. The Americans are at the bottom of a bowl. The Germans are on the rim. Snipers take positions in the trees. Anyone who raises their head is shot. Then come the mortars. The Germans launch grenades down into the huddled masses of men. There is nowhere to run. The explosions tear through the tight formation, but the worst enemy is not the Germans. It is thirst. There is a stream running through the bottom of the ravine. It is fresh, cold water. It is only a few yards away from the foxholes. But the German snipers have it zeroed in. Within hours, the stream is choked with the bodies of men who tried to crawl out to fill a canteen. The water runs red with blood. To get a drink is suicide. The men begin to go mad with thirst. They chew on leaves to get the morning dew. They dig into the mud, trying to find moisture. Some, driven insane by the need, run for the stream and are cut down instantly. Whittlesey forbids anyone from going to the water. He knows he cannot lose more men. Hunger follows. The 1 day of rations is gone. There is no food. The men tighten their belts. They chew on leather straps. They search the pockets of the dead for a forgotten crust of bread. The days blur into a haze of suffering. October 3rd, October 4th. The Germans attack again and again. They send stormtroopers with flamethrowers to burn the Americans out. But the Lost Battalion, as the newspapers back home are now calling them, refuses to budge. They fight back with a desperate fury. When their machine guns run dry, they use rifles. When rifles run dry, they use pistols. When pistols run dry, they use bayonets and fists. Captain George McMurtry, a tough stockbroker who serves as Whittlesey's second-in-command, walks the line with a bandage around his knee, another around his shoulder. He smiles at the men. "It's a great fight, boys," he says. "We've got them right where we want them." It is a lie, but it keeps them alive. The situation is critical. Whittlesey needs to send a message to headquarters. He needs to tell them where he is so they can send help or at least drop supplies by plane. But the phone lines are cut. The runners are dead. His only link to the outside world is a crate of carrier pigeons. One by one, he releases them with messages tied to their legs. One by one, the German marksmen shoot them out of the sky. The feathers drift down into the ravine like snow. By the afternoon of October 4th, the battalion is on the verge of collapse. And then a sound is heard that brings hope. The boom of American artillery. "Our boys!" the men cheer. "They're clearing the way!" The shells scream overhead. The ground shakes. But then the cheers turn to screams. The shells are not falling on the Germans. They are falling directly into the ravine. It is the ultimate tragedy of war. Friendly fire. The American artillery commander has the wrong coordinates. He thinks the Germans are in the ravine. He is pounding his own trapped men with high explosives. Trees shatter. Earth erupts. Men who have survived 3 days of German sniper fire are blown to pieces by American shells. Panic threatens to break the unit. Men are trying to run. Whittlesey sees his command disintegrating. He has to stop the shelling. He has 1 pigeon left. The last pigeon is a black check cock named Cher, dear friend. Whittlesey writes a message on a tiny slip of onion paper. His hand shakes, but the words are clear. We are along the road parallel to 276.4. Our own artillery is dropping a barrage directly on us. For heaven's sake, stop it. He clips the canister to the bird's leg. He climbs out of his hole, exposing himself to fire, and tosses the bird into the air. Cher flies up, but he is confused by the noise and smoke. He lands on a nearby tree branch and starts to preen his feathers. The men scream at the bird. They throw rocks. Fly! Fly, you damn bird! Finally, Cher takes off. The Germans see the bird rising. They know what it means. Thousands of bullets fly into the air. The sky turns into a wall of lead. Cher is hit. The bird tumbles from the sky, spiraling down. The men groan. All hope is lost. But then a miracle. Near the ground, the little bird spreads his wings again. He is wounded, bleeding, but he beats his wings. He rises back up, through the bullets, over the ridge, and disappears into the smoke. He flies 25 miles in 25 minutes. When he lands at the division headquarters coop, the signal officer is shocked. The bird is a wreck. He has been shot through the breast. He is blinded in one eye. One of his legs is hanging by a single tendon, but the message canister is still attached to the hanging leg. The officer reads the note. He runs to the phone. Stop the fire! Stop the fire! The guns go silent. In the ravine, the survivors look up. The shelling has stopped. They are alive. A pigeon has saved them. The friendly fire stops, but the siege continues. October 5th, October 6th. The men are now skeletons. They are drinking their own urine. They are hallucinating. The Germans are frustrated. They cannot understand why these Americans won't give up. They have hit them with everything: mortars, machine guns, fire. On October 7th, a German soldier steps out with a white flag. He carries a letter typed in English for Major Whittlesey. It is a polite, almost gentlemanly letter from the German commanding officer. It reads, "The suffering of your wounded men can be heard over here in the German lines, and we are appealing to your humane sentiments to stop. A white flag shown by one of your men will tell us that you agree with these conditions. Surrender is not a disgrace." Whittlesey reads the note. He looks at his men, filthy, starving, bleeding, but watching him with intense eyes. He smiles a grim smile. He doesn't write a reply. He doesn't need to. He orders the white air signal panels to be taken in so the Germans won't mistake them for a surrender flag. Legend says he shouted, "You go to hell!" Whether he said the words or not, the message was clear. He ordered his men to fix bayonets. If the Germans wanted them, they would have to come down into the hole and kill them all. The Germans, infuriated, launched one final massive attack. They poured over the ridges. But the starving New Yorkers rose up like demons. They fought with the last ounces of their strength. They held the line. And then, on the evening of October 8th, a sound was heard in the distance. Not German Mausers, but the crack of American Springfield rifles coming from the south. The relief force had broken through. The Germans, realizing they were about to be flanked, retreated into the forest. The siege was over. Ambulances rushed in. Food trucks arrived. But the sight that greeted the rescuers was haunting. Of the 554 men who walked into the forest, only 194 were able to walk out. The rest were dead, missing, or too wounded to stand. Major Whittlesey refused a ride in a jeep. He stood at the head of his shattered column. His face was gaunt, his uniform torn, his glasses cracked. But he marched his men out. The lost battalion became instant national heroes. The newspapers loved the story. The gangster and the lawyer fighting side by side. The pigeon that saved them. Whittlesey was promoted to lieutenant colonel. He was awarded the Medal of Honor, the highest award in the U.S. military. He was paraded around the country as a symbol of American courage. But there is a dark ending to this story that is often left out. Whittlesey never recovered from the ravine. He was haunted by the screams of his dying men. He felt guilty that he survived while so many died. He hated the fame. He hated being called a hero. He felt he had just led men to their deaths because of a stupid order. In 1921, 3 years after the war, Charles Whittlesey booked passage on a cruise ship to Havana. He dined with the captain. He was cheerful and polite. That night, he walked to the rail of the ship. He stepped over into the dark Atlantic Ocean. He left no note. His body was never found. He was the final casualty of the lost battalion. Cher, the Pigeon, fared better in history, though he died of his wounds a year later. His body was preserved and stands today in the Smithsonian Museum, a tiny feathered warrior with a wooden leg. The story of the Lost Battalion is not just about war. It is about the breaking point of the human spirit and the refusal to break. It reminds us that sometimes the greatest act of courage is simply to endure one more day. This has been Trench Tales. If this deep dive into history moved you, please subscribe and share this video. See you in the trenches.